There are so many beloved franchises that I get asked to create challenge runs for, one of those being the Wipeout series. And no, not the one where you run on the obstacle course and everyone laughs when you fall in the water, although maybe that has some video potential too. Wipeout has been around since 1995 and has spawned many sequels. Wipeout 2097, also known as Wipeout XL, has been cited consistently as one of the greatest racing games of all time. It's also a title that gets more than its fair share of requests for me to check out. While I'm no stranger to starting with sequels and later entries to racing games, I thought it would be best if I started this series from the very beginning. Wipeout takes place in 2052, where 4 different teams compete in the F3600 Anti-Gravity Racing League. Those teams are AG Systems, Auricom, Qirex, and Physar. The teams originate from different regions of the world, and have stats for their ships based on acceleration, top speed, turning circle, and mass. I'm sure I don't need to explain the stats, but since mass is the odd one out, it represents how well your ship can bear being hit by a weapon. Now, none of these teams are really considered to be bad. They've all got something that makes them good. But going based off of stats alone, I figured Physar might be the worst, given that it has some of the lowest top speed and mass in the game. But after playing with them for a short time, I wasn't experiencing any trouble or challenge. I figured that Auricom and AG Systems couldn't fill the shoes either, since their stats are far more balanced among the 4. So all that leaves is one more team. Qirex has the best top speed and the lowest turning and acceleration stats, making their ships the most difficult to use in the game. Stats like this are nothing I'm not used to at this point. Go fast and mind your turns should be easy enough. But of course, there is a catch. The first Wipeout game is known to be painfully unforgiving. Touching anything will kill your speed. And since the Qirex ships are so fast and handle so poorly, you're gonna be knocking into things quite a bit. So let's see if you can beat Wipeout only using Qirex. For this challenge, I'm going to try and complete all the championship races in the one-player mode. There's no difficulty settings, but you have 2 classes to choose from. Those are Venom and Rapier. You start out with Venom, and after completing it, you unlock Rapier. Venom could be considered something like 100cc, and Rapier is more like 150cc. There's not too much to go over for the game's mechanics, so we'll cover the basics real quick. There are 8 ships in every race, 2 for each team, though you're racing solo against everyone. There will typically be a rival during each championship playthrough, though sometimes the numbers can get shaken up. On the tracks, you'll find boost pads and weapon grids. Passing over a weapon grid while it's flashing colors will give you a weapon or power-up, and unless you've looked beforehand, you'll have no idea what you've got until you use it. You'll also be notified of a weapon that's about to be used against you by the game's announcer, so you'll have an extra second to prepare.
Shockwave, rocket.
Racing around the tracks looks self-explanatory, but it's not all too simple. Instead of drifting for tight turns, you have air brakes that will slow you down and turn you to the right or left, or you can hit both at the same time to brake in place. You might also find yourself bouncing around after jumping off a ramp or hill, and you can press up or down on the D-pad to realign yourself. Standard Grand Prix point rules apply in the championship, and you also get 2 extra continues in case you want to retry for a better spot. If you run out, you get a game over, but your continues do reset after every race. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, the music in this game is amazing, but it's also copyrighted, so I won't be able to use it in this video. Sorry in advance. I began by choosing Arian Tetsuo because hell yeah, Akira, and we had our first race in Canada at the Ultima venue. The track isn't all too complex, though it offers a little bit of everything. Hills, a cliff jump, a tight narrow tunnel, oh, and of course, walls.
Oh, my favorite.
Qirex ships turn slow, but so wide that it was almost impossible to miss a wall for more than a few seconds. And just look at how it massacred my poor speed. Like, I understand that hitting a wall should result in a loss of speed, but do I really need to lose this much with such a slight graze of my wing? Of course, the first try was a disaster, and while I was getting the hang of it on the next try, I found out another wonderful thing about this game. If you're gaining on a CPU, they will go above and beyond to cut you off and block you from moving ahead. These guys, yeah, fuck off. Don't appreciate them blocking me, dude. Get away from me. Touching them will hurt your speed, but don't you worry because they will remain unaffected. Out of some incredible dumb luck, I overtook first place in the final lap and won the race. Maybe Qrex's speed is just too hot, or maybe it was Arian's outfit. When you get a track record, you can input your initials afterward, which means I get to keep the YouTube poop references rolling. The next race takes us to Carbonis in Japan. I was playing another fun round of Hit the Walls, and must have accidentally clipped out of bounds somehow, because the game thought I fell off the track.
The hell happened?
Sucks, but it does give me an opportunity to show you how painfully slow the recovery process is. It's really like a giant middle finger if you screw up. Once I got back into the race, I had to try and get through these oh-so-lovely turns. Just another terrible first try run through. I did get 6th, and considering how bad I played, I thought it was an alright spot. I was ready to accept it and move on until I got hit with a classic racing game moment.
Oh, look at that. Hubba hubba. Oh, great. It's one of those games where you don't qualify if you don't do good.
Yep, another fail to qualify situation. I wasn't even that surprised anymore. I feel like the last handful of racing games I've played have had this. You have to place within the top 3 to qualify. And as long as I don't clip out of bounds again, I think I can manage that. Even though I was still smacking the walls all around, I was gearing up to place second on my next try, until my own teammate passed me after the twisty turns. I got him with a rocket snipe, but their CPU plot armor was just too good.
Ooh,
Still, 3rd place means I'm good to continue. Next up on the world map is Germany with Terramax. This area takes us away into the countryside. And look, a giant leap. Surely nothing bad will happen here.
Oh, lovely. I hate this. Takes way too long. Come on, man.
Okay, that was on me because I bumped right before the jump. Terramax was just more of the same issues. Some of the turns were more demanding here, and I was messing them all up and bouncing up and down like a rubber ball. I got 4th in my first attempt, somehow, and on my second, I was back and forth on the final lap, but quit out because I failed another jump and figured afterward that the run was already dead. On my 3rd and final try, I wrecked my way into another qualifying position. Could have been 1st place too if I didn't bump the ship ahead of me. I don't know how I've been pulling these races off, because I have not been playing well in the slightest. Could it be that Qirex is just too good, even if I played poorly? Guess we'll just have to continue on to Korodera in Russia and see what happens. I should have known better. The first 3 tracks don't do a whole lot to prepare you for this. They're like a tandem ride to the park, until you realize that you're on your way to the industrial park. This track requires you to have a significant experience with air braking to make turns. And as you can see by my gameplay here, I had none of that. So I got my first game over. Who could have saw that coming? Instead of trying to get all the way here to fail again, I shifted over to the time trial mode to get some practice in on this track and the others to come. I started with Silverstream because my chat kept bringing it up for some reason, but we'll return to that later. After playing through Korodera a bit with minimum bumps and conveniently forgetting about Eridos, I gave the championship mode another shot. Qualifying in the first 3 races again took minimum effort, but once I got back to Korodera, I immediately flopped. While I did improve slightly by finishing in 5th, I was still a far cry from qualifying. The turns are just so demanding here, and it's not helpful that the boost pads are placed in spots that can launch you into a wall. I made half-hearted attempts to air brake, but it was abundantly clear that I had to stop fooling around and really get this down. So I hopped back into time trial and started my air brake training. It took some getting used to because you need to hit the opposite button for the turns you want to make. So for left turns you hit R2 and right turns you hit L2. It just felt really weird to me, probably because I'm more used to the drifting mechanics in traditional kart racers. It's not that easy to get down, especially with Qirex. Because of their speed and wide turns, you gotta air brake a little ahead of time to avoid bumping into the walls. Air braking just takes a lot of practice, and it's absolutely necessary to learn. Also, just because we're here, be sure not to boost when going off this ramp. It'll cause you to fall out of bounds because, of course it does. Being slightly more in tune with air braking, my experiences in the first 3 races were night and day compared to my old attempts. Who could have imagined that learning more about a racing game would make you better at it? I got back to Korodera in 1st place with a 6-point lead, and on my very first try, I qualified by the skin of my teeth.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
I also earned a new track record too, right behind Stu. Oh, and I changed my initials to LAST for like and subscribe, so we're finally making our way to my homeland of the USA. What a more iconic stage to race in than the desert lands of Eridos 4. I kind of forgot that some of these tracks have numbers on them, but why 4? Where are the other 3? Eridos was much easier compared to Korodera, removing the constant need to turn, and instead opting for a few spots where tight and precise turning needs to be done. Eridos also has a fork in the road early into the track, and it can get kind of annoying if you're near another ship, given their deep desire to block you.
Please get out of my way, dude. Holy moly.
I got 4th place on my first try and 5th on the next. With only 1 try left, I was hauling ass to get to the final track. In the final lap, I was right behind 3rd place, and with a speed boost of all items. I pretty much wasted it and fell back to 5th, but shortly after, the Wipeout gods gave me another one, and it came in handy just in the nick of time.
Oh, I stole it again. Hot diggity.
Another race qualified, and I was tied for first place with 35 points. Not too shabby having neglected this track with no prior practice. With only one track left to go, maybe I could pull off a miracle in Silverstream. Oh, Silverstream. Did you know that it's been known as not only the hardest track in the game, but also one of the most difficult tracks in the whole series? Take one run through here and you'll realize why. I mentioned that I practiced this earlier, but it was a short trip because I didn't want to spoil myself too much. Maybe that was a mistake. Silverstream is a nightmare track that demands near perfect turning throughout it. There's also a few times that the track branches paths, and from what I understand, the left paths are the quickest ones to get through, but you'll never know that unless you've had enough experience racing on it. And if you screw up too much early on or take the wrong paths, you will never see another ship for the whole race. It's nuts. This track is the ultimate test of skill, even more so for Qirex, because Silverstream was not designed with them in mind. You gotta be a real glutton for punishment to try and get through here with them. With 1, 2, 3 strikes, I was out. My best position was 5th, and I don't even know how I pulled that off, but what a punch in the gut. You gotta get through all these tracks, place within the top 3 while hopefully racking up enough points for a win, just for it to come crashing down when you realize the last track is designed like some kid scribbling on construction paper. Throughout the next day, I spent my time practicing in the time trials and made more attempts to get through the Venom class while having fun doing it.
Rocket. Rocket.
I willed that.
Missile.
Oh, lovely. Hey, you suck.
Rocket.
No, shove that rocket up your ass. Stop touching. That is so... They're just so good at calculating where you're gonna be. Oh, I'm passing you. Oh.
Missile. Flying missile.
Holy sh... Enough! Enough!
Despite the little montage there, I was consistently making it to Silverstream, still not coming close to qualifying, but chipping away at lap times little by little. Even with a couple of sub-minute lap times here and there, I made an unfortunate discovery that I really wish I hadn't.
Holy fuck.
How are they just turning... Wait a minute! Bro was turning into the wall and didn't slow down. Oh, I saw it.
Yeah, this guy just straight up clipped through the walls and moved past me without a care in the world. Don't you just love when the CPUs can defy the laws of physics, but you can't? So not only did I have to improve even more, I now had the knowledge that the CPUs just straight up cheat in the hardest track in the game. In the end, I was able to secure 4th place, just one spot higher than my previous best. And even while there, I still never saw another ship. I called it quits for the night after that happened, and when the next day came, I had an insane turnaround. I got first place in every single race before Silverstream, and only used one reset in Carbonis. It's like I went to bed and woke up a Wipeout master. But none of that would even matter if I didn't qualify in Silverstream, and thankfully, that's all I needed to do since I had such a huge point lead. My first try was rough. I ended up placing 5th, like I'd done so many times before, but on my next try, I wound up taking 3rd shortly after entering the second lap, and practically held my breath for the rest of the race. Take a look.
Okay. That's it. Very nice. Easy win. Look at that. Not a single minute-long lap. All sub-minute. That is awesome.
Would you look at that? What a crazy improvement from the day before. A new lap record and not a single 60-second lap. All this earned me the qualifying spot that I was desperately trying to achieve, and the Rapier class was unlocked.
The ultra-fast Rapier class. We recommend you save your game. You better save your game. It's about to get real crazy.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. This class was exactly as described, ultra fast. So fast that I had to basically relearn the game. I was too used to the slower speeds of the Venom class that I could not navigate through these tracks like I was once able to. And it's all the same tracks too, some taking place during a different time of day, but the tracks themselves remain unaffected. It's actually impressive how increasing the speed like this can make for a whole new experience. The Qirex ships thrived a bit more in Venom because the speed was so important and everyone was slow, but in the new class, their speed is more of a hindrance hindrance, and the poor handling and acceleration just salts the wound. I barely made it a minute into Corrodera in my first playthrough before giving up and retreating to time trials, which was probably for the best. There was no way I was going to pass it or Silverstream without practice, and that's what the rest of my day turned into. Lots of practice in time trials and some championship playthroughs that never reached the end. I wish I could say more, but the Rapier class is really no different than what you've already seen, except much faster. Speaking of faster, in the beginning of my runs the next day, I just kept getting speed boost power-ups in the first 3 races. Like, it was so consistent, you'd think I was cheating.
Oh my god, how are we getting so many in a row? Guys, I will show you all the files I have. I'm not cheating. Okay, see? See? Oh my god, stop! What the hell is happening in this playthrough?
Of course, the fun had to come to an end when I reached Corrodera, though it's not like a bunch of speed boosts would have been useful here anyway. I was on track to take over 3rd place, but that big jump that can take you out of bounds did exactly that, this time with no speed boost. Qirex is just that fast. You gotta aim downward the moment you take off of this thing. After using my final reset to get at least 2nd place, I had to settle for 3rd. At this time, that put me 2 points behind in 2nd overall. That didn't really matter much because Eridos was an utter disaster for various reasons. Though when I returned after getting a game over, I crossed the finish line in 2nd, and entering Silverstream, I was in a tie for 1st. I think my next change in initials can describe how that went. Qirex is just too fast for its own good, and the CPUs are still cheating. I didn't even get further than 7th place here. It's just far too chaotic. Though I had an odd occurrence the next time I made it there. I must have taken another swig of the Decent at Racing Games potion, because I had a 2-point lead against my rival before Silverstream. A tie might give me the win, or if I qualified and they somehow lost, I could win the whole thing anyway. The latter is very unlikely, but you gotta have faith, right? I raced across those icy Greenland tracks like never before, and held on to 4th place in the first lap for dear life. Then I got 3rd place in the 2nd lap, but again found no other ships afterward. I was about to cross the finish line until I stopped and reluctantly retried. I mean, if I was doing this good right now, I can surely replicate that again. Well, not this time. I choked and was left with what could have been. I mean, I probably would have lost in that 3rd place run anyway. Afterward, I moved on to other challenge run ventures to ease my pain. I'd also end up taking a short break to skip town for a few days, and fully expected my muscle memory of these tracks to be long forgotten when I returned. And that kind of happened in the beginning, but when I fully locked in, I became a Wipeout machine. Thanks to a bit of a shakeup in the standings, and an unintentional 1st place snipe in Eridos.
Oh my god, woo!
I had a 6-point lead going into the final race. This meant that no matter where I placed in the top 3, I would win. Now all I had to do was place in the top 3. There were a few close calls, and I was brought down to my very last continue. It was all or nothing now.
Oh, I got pushed to the front. Yay! Oh my god!
If you missed what happened, after I hit a wall, I was pushed by the ship behind me, which gave me enough speed to pass through the finish line in 3rd place. Maybe I should buy a lottery ticket, because that was insane. This also ended up being my best Silverstream time ever, so of course I had to bring Sis out of retirement for the occasion. The pain and suffering was finally over.
You have access to the full Venom and Rapier championships with the newly constructed circuit Firestar. Recommend you save your current game. Oh, great.
Oh, of course not. Well, better than putting me through a mirror mode. I think that would genuinely make me quit. With both of these classes completed, you unlock their full versions. They're the exact same as before, except they add 1 extra track. That's it. If you ask me, it should have been included at the end of Rapier, or with the credits roll, or something. So now I had to do this all over again. Well, just the Rapier class. I figured it wasn't worth playing through Venom again since it's slower. And wouldn't you know it, after all this time playing Wipeout, I was kicking ass. I made it all the way to the end on 3 separate occasions without getting a game over, until the last track. It takes place on Mars, and it's not all that bad. You'd think they'd go even harder after Silverstream, but it was just a run-of-the-mill track, nothing too crazy or flashy. Now, I failed it a few times because it was new. Even getting through some time trials beforehand, I was having a tough go of it when it came down to the end. I didn't let that faze me though, because I knew knew I'd nail it when the time was right. It was a good thing that time wouldn't be too far off. In this attempt, I crushed every track. I was out of control and had a 12-point lead after finishing Eridos in second. I could not be stopped and pretty much had this win in the bag. Just qualifying in Silverstream would have been fine. But could you imagine if I got first place?
Dude, I just got first place. What the?
Oh, you just saw that right. I couldn't even pull this off in Venom. Yet somehow, I dominated the hardest track in the entire game, now commanding a gargantuan lead. If the game allowed it, I could finish in any place and win. But all I needed to do was qualify, and I was more than happy to leave it at that.
Okay. That's it. GG, 59 points. It's all over. One more time.
As my reward for being the best Wipeout pilot ever, I got some congratulatory text that went way too fast. It just says that I'm an amazing pilot and to keep my eyes peeled for Wipeout 2, coming soon. The text scrolled away, and with no end credits since the game just brings you back to the menu screen, I proved that you can beat Wipeout only using Qirex. Thank you all so much for watching. I had big hopes for this series, and the first entry did not disappoint. Well, I mean, I could have done without the terrible speed loss, but it was simply just a different time. To reiterate what I said at the beginning, none of these teams are bad, they just have their own strengths that make them good. Qirex just has the unfortunate strength of going way too fast. It's easily the hardest ship to control in the game by a mile. Ultimately, I probably wouldn't recommend playing Qirex in this game. If you get good with them, they can be a force to be reckoned with, but in my opinion, it's not worth the added frustration. Trust me, when you hit a wall while using this thing, you'll understand. I'm definitely interested in checking out the sequel, especially with how much praise it gets. If you'd like to see that from me, you know what to do. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Also, I stream all of my challenge runs live on my Twitch channel and here on YouTube. If you'd like to check that out, be sure to subscribe or follow me on Twitch. The link to my Twitch channel, along with links to my other social media accounts, can be found in the description. If there's a challenge run you'd like to see, you can also check out the description for a direct link where you can submit your ideas. Thanks again for watching, everyone. See you in the next video.
Rocket.
Rocket. Beep. Twist it. Pull it.